Blog Talk Radio.
You're quite hostile.
I got a right to be hostile, man. My people been persecuted.
Revolution is not an event, it's a process.
I want the truth.
We have to dare to be different and dare to tell the truth.
We don't see the fire, but the house is burning.
Pick up a book and feed your mind.
Culture that took over.
How are the people saying? You are a deceived people. Nobody else can do this for us.
Take that white Jesus down.
Something is wrong.
Do the research like we do the research. You'll be convinced also.
Turn off Fake Housewives of Atlanta.
Continue to raise the intellect and the consciousness of the human family.
Professor Griff knows.
So I ain't no coach.
Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2. Am I coming in loud and clear? Am I coming in loud and clear? Somebody send me a message to 678-557-2919 and let me know if you can hear me. Am I coming in loud and clear here on NMEmindz Radio? All right. I'm waiting on your text. All right. Hit me up loud. I wonder if I'm coming in loud and clear. All right. Loud and clear. All right. Thanks, 908, whoever you are. All right, check 1 2 1 2. This is NMEmindz Radio on the Minds Matter Blog Talk Radio Network, where the matters of the mind actually matter, especially in this day and time in which we live. Greetings, family. Peace, hotep, shalom, assalamu alaikum, abibi afodie, olafia, black power, what's poppin', what's good, what it do, and good evening, and as Pam Africa always says, on the move. All right? Welcome to another edition of NMEmindz Radio with your host, Professor Griff, and my big sister, Miss ZaZa Ali. ZaZa Ali will not be joining us this evening, taking care of some much-needed business in the town, all right, doing the thing. But we send our spirit and our energy out to the sister that she completes that particular task, that we anxiously await her body of work so we can add the next layer of this revolutionary struggle on, so we can lay this foundation so we can move forward with the resurrection of our people's spirit and moving on to control our own destiny here in the wilderness of North America and throughout the black African diaspora. Just want to let ZaZa know that we're here doing this particular work on NMEmindz Radio, giving a voice to the voiceless. All those brothers that you're seeing in Baltimore and all those sisters that you're seeing in Baltimore on the front lines right now with no voice, we're giving them a voice here on NMEmindz Radio. So peace to the gods and goddesses, the RBGs, the Pan-African family, the Rastafari, the Native American brothers and sisters. Peace to the black nationalists, the Moors, and the original family covered 196,940,000 square miles of this particular planet here. All right? This show is the show where minds produce minds that produce great minds because minds matter. We are souls in search of souls that are like minds, like mine. This show and every show is dedicated to all those that are dedicated, as given to us by our good brother, Dr. Reverend Phil Valentine. Sister Amy Garvey says, stand on your own 2 feet and fight like hell for your place in this world. Not a world made over by our open enemy that actually has no place for us, but at the feet of our slave masters' children. because we are standing on the verge of getting it on to bring about a revolution, as our brothers and sisters are doing in Baltimore right now, bringing about a serious revolution. And revolution is complete, constructive, conscious, cosmic change, all right? The revolution of mind has to start first before we bring about a physical revolution, a changing of the guards, a changing of that mindset, a changing of the order of things, all right? And then Zaza Ali says revolution is when women give birth to men. All right, we have to keep these particular things in mind, because every man, every revolutionary comes through the womb of a woman. You can be whatever you want to be in this world's life on your way to becoming God and goddesses, having a human experience called you, as taught to us by Professor James Small. And also the most honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that to find God we must look within. Heaven and hell is a state of mind, and we must build our minds and hurl truth at falsehood and speak truth to power, destroying and rebuilding, given to us by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. He also teaches us that we must direct our energy. We are direct descendants from Allah Himself. All right, once again, this is NMEmindz Radio on the Minds Matter Blog Talk Radio Network, where matters of the mind matter. Our aim and our mission is to raise the vibrational pitch of our thinking into the mind of the Creator, as given to us by the goddess Tanetta Muhammad, and also raise the consciousness level of the human family and replace racism, white supremacy with justice, so that we can live in peace on this planet that we affectionately call Earth. The call-in number tonight is 347-633-9644. That's 347-633-9644. So in the spirit of our ancestors, to whose shoulders we stand on, we simply would like to say Ashe. And Ashe simply means so be it. I hope you built, brothers and sisters, I hope you all built your altars in your house where you go to every day. And you actually draw that energy from your ancestors. And you put whatever you want to extract from those particular ancestors, that particular spirit, and in remembrance of our ancestors, build your altars in your homes. Go to that sacred place in your home where it's quiet, where you can have peace of mind and call down the spirit of your ancestors to be among us. We do that every single Tuesday and Thursday here on NMEmindz Radio. So with that said, I want to call on the spirit of a brother who gave us a monumental work called The Making of a Revolutionary. All right? This brother goes by the name of none other than James Foreman. He says in his obituary, it stated that a revolutionary is forged through struggle. I want to send this particular message out to my partner on the front lines, Ms. Zaza. A revolutionary is forged through struggle. If there was no struggle and no pain and no hurdles to get over, and you're not tested in this work by outside forces or by the internal demons within, all right, you would never know what you're made of. So a revolutionary is forged through struggle. And it's a beautiful thing when you see yourself and other people see you come through that struggle of the victor. All right? We are not born revolutionaries. We're born into a revolution, but revolutionaries are forged through a constant struggle and the study of revolutionary ideas and experiences. And we must understand that, and that's given to us by our good brother, James Foreman. Let's keep this particular thing in mind as we move forward. Let's think about the struggles of other revolutionaries that have had it 10 times, 100 times harder than what we have it today. And keep these people in mind. And let's move towards our goal. We have the luxuries today of having computers and having cell phones and actually getting a bottle of water, sitting at a cafe or doing whatever. Let's keep in mind some of the greatest and most monumental work that we stand on was made from worse conditions. All right? So let's keep these particular things in mind as we forge our way forward. All right? So in the spirit and in the spirit of all the prophetess, messages, and guides who came to us in the personage of great women and men, and to all those unknown soldiers that have fought, bled, and died for the freedom and liberation struggle of our people here in the wilderness of North America, we say 3 times, Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. If you'd like to contact us, you can hit me up, Professor Griff, at Real Prof Griff. Or that's my Twitter handle. Or you could hit me up, just email me at ProfessorGriffPE@gmail.com. My cell phone number is 678-557-2333. 2919. You can text me or call me. Please don't text or call me, pardon me, between the hours of 8 and 10 on Tuesday and Thursday. I will not answer. All right. If you want to hit Zaza up, you could hit her up on Facebook at NMEmindz Radio on Facebook. Or you can email her at mindsmatterbtrs@gmail.com. All right. Our Twitter handle is NMEmindz Radio on Twitter. And you can catch our work. It's going to be on our website, but for right now, you can catch our work at NMEmindz TV on YouTube. All right. I want to shout out to General Shakir. I want to shout out Canetta Lindsay, my man Jamal with the dynamic flyer. Just that flyer alone, pulling that energy from that flyer is a dynamic kind of piece of energy. All right. Minister Paul Scott, thanks for the information, good brother. Khalid El Hakim, thanks for the warning, man. Black, King Simon, thanks, King Simon, really appreciate it. Shout out to King Simon, who put a dynamic lecture together featuring Dr. Leola Africa and his beautiful mate, Melanie, all right, at Nicholas, Brooklyn. All right, beautiful lecture, some dynamic information. It was some dynamic stuff that Sister laid on us in reference to reading the hand, reading the eyes, reading the face, and just your auric field. Beautiful, beautiful, dynamic lectures by the both of them. So shout out to them. Shout out to my daughter, Takia Shah and BedX. Shout out to my man Nassim the Dream out in the O. And Kepris last night at the health food spot, man. Yes. Dr. Africa once again putting it down. Shout out to my man Bomani. I was up in the lab with Bomani yesterday. We knocked out some Public Enemy songs. His studio is called the Urban Intellect. All right, so shout out to Bomani. You might remember Bomani. He was the brother that did the cartoon and the song Read a Book. All right, so let's check that brother. Let's check that brother's workout on YouTube. Read a Book. So the brothers and sisters on the front line in B-More, hold it down, man. Shout out to Nati at Everyone's Place, man. Keep the soldiers on the front line, man. And I need y'all to respect Nati's building. I need you to respect his place. You understand what I'm saying? That's Everyone's Place. All right? There are certain places that are there in the war zone, all right, that continue to give life and energy to our people. And that brother in his place is one of them. So straight up, man, hands off Everyone's Place in Baltimore. All right? Let's make that known. I need Free, Darren, and all the brothers and sisters in Baltimore to let the people, let that be known. All right? Hands off Everyone's Place. My good brother, our good brother Nati. All right? To my man Siddiqui, Smooth, Matty Matt, J. Will be son. John Trejo, always on the front line. Sarnetta, Red and Blue Pill. I was hanging out with one of the pills the other night. It's a beautiful thing. All right? Stay up, Arkansas, in your travels, man, and be safe and get on back to the States so we can make this website thing happen. We're going to dive into this particular subject tonight. So we want to talk about, all right, the psychological operations, the Psy-ops, that's presently going on in Baltimore, Maryland, and throughout the United States of America. We will discuss Jade, Helm 15, Rex 84, the King Alfred Plan, Martial Law, Operation Garden Plot, the DOD's 1033, the Global Population Control here on NMEmindz Radio tonight. The call-in number is 347-633-9644. That's 347-633-9644. All right, make sure you pass that number on to everyone. We need your questions. We need your comments tonight as we move forward into this particular discussion. So, brothers and sisters, keep in mind, as this thing goes down, Baltimore is a microcosm. As we know and understand the macrocosm is what's going on here in the wilderness of North America and throughout the planet Earth. As they look at Baltimore, as they did with Ferguson, as they did with New York, as they did with other places, all right? Let's keep in mind that we're going to dive in tonight on the whole idea and what is this doing to the psyche. And as we know and understand what the psyche is in ancient Kemetic terms, the psyche is the soul. But dealing with it in the Western world science, we want to deal with the psyche. What is this doing to the mind? What is this doing to the spirit of of our people as we dive into this particular subject tonight. All right? We're going to break for a couple of commercials. We'll be right back to hear what you have to say in reference to this particular subject, the Psy-ops, psychological operations, the prelude to global population control. And we will be right back on NMEmindz Radio with your host, Professor Griff, and Miss ZaZa Ali. We will be
All
right
Them DVDs
back.
has got you covered for your DVD needs. History, Pan-Africanism, religion, metaphysics, health, astrology, economics, and more. AllThemDVDs.com has over 7,000 titles. If you don't have it, we'll get it. Go to AllThemDVDs.com now for discounts. That's AllThemDVDs.com or call 267-257-3270. Yes, All Them DVDs. Remember, AllThemDVDs.com.
Get your loved one out of jail. Express Bail Bonding Company is located at 236 Forsyth Street, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30303. We provide professional and courteous service with getting your loved ones out of jail fast. We are open 24 hours a day and provide service in the surrounding Georgia counties and the United States. Call us at 404-522-3201. Again, that's 404-522-3201. Once again, that's 404-522-3201.
At Eat, Drink, and Be Conscious, we have a world of products choosing organic ingredients first and 100% all-natural superior ingredients second. Eat, Drink, and Be Conscious created 100% all-natural personal skincare line, the home of our aluminum-free 100% all-natural deodorant with bentonite clay, with or without probiotics for adults and children. Our silky smooth, 100% pure shea butter base skin souffle is great for your skin, especially dry skin, all made with fragrances or pure essential oils. All of our products contain no useless carrier oils, no parabens, no animal derivatives, just no-nonsense skin food. It's good for you. We even have 100% all-natural fluoride-free toothpaste that remineralizes your teeth and helps prevent tooth decay. Visit edmbc.com. Order your superior products today. Health is wealth, and you're worth it. edmbc.com.
Check 1, 2, 1, 2. This is Professor Griff, and I'm back here on NMEmindz Radio with your host, Professor Griff, and Miss ZaZa Ali. Miss ZaZa Ali will not be joining us this evening, but her spirit is definitely in the building. All right, I just want to say from the rip to all of the police officers and all the people that are operating in government in all of the cities across America. All right? The message and the spirit that we should have, especially if you work in government, is let's stop the killing. Stop the killing. All right? Stop the killing. White on black, black on black, white on white, black on white, however it is. I just want to say that from the rip to lay a foundation. But to get more personal, all right, we need to stop this killing of one another, this black on black crime. We're going to get deeper into that because I don't want to leave these blanket statements out there. Now that we've laid the foundation, we need you to understand the whole idea of this psychological operation. All right? Me being a black man, ZaZa being a black woman, we want to stop the killing of our young brothers across this country, all right, and throughout the world, all right? Desperate times call for desperate measures. We have a list in front of us of over 300 and some odd names of black men and women that have been murdered by police officers, all right? Too numerous to go. If it's one, it's too long. The list is too long. So let's stop the killing. Now let's dive into the psychological, the Psy-ops and what's going on, and let's talk about the prelude to the whole global population control and how they're bringing this particular thing about. Someone said on Facebook, you hate the rioter, because you say nothing, and you say nothing about the circumstances that caused the riot. You condemn our children, but you say nothing about the police terrorism that abuses them. You say stop the revolt, but you haven't done anything to bring justice to the victims. You say violence isn't the answer, but you offer the same useless strategies from the past. You are nothing but an accomplice to the crime. Close your damn mouth and go get ready for the plantation. Your work tomorrow. And this is very eloquent and very well put by Anonymous on Facebook. Those people that continue to run their mouth but yet do nothing about the situation of our brothers and sisters prior to something like this go down. But you so quick to run your mouth when the brothers express themselves in the street. Where were you 2 weeks ago when the brothers needed political education classes, all right, to know what to do with this particular energy? Where were you? So we need to understand this particular dynamic, and we need to understand the mindset of the Negroes, all right, that continue to give us this kind of verbiage and this kind of madness and this kind of spirit, all right, while they sit back in their comfortable homes, all right, watching things go down on CNN and some of the other alphabet boys who's actually not going to present us a view of what the truth is. But we have brothers and sisters that are on the front lines, that are there in Baltimore, so we can get it directly from the brothers and sisters that are on the front lines and that's in Baltimore right at this particular moment right now. So we're getting it directly what's going on the front lines. All right? I keep hearing this whole idea about a riot. Brothers and sisters, y'all need to look up what a damn riot is, because I'm getting confused. Y'all are confusing the hell out of me. When we talk about Psy-ops, Psy-ops is the dissemination of truthful information to foreign audiences in support of the United States policies and the national objectives. Used during peacetime contingencies and declared war. These activities are not a form of force, but are force multipliers that use nonviolent means in often violent environments. They use nonviolent means in often violent environments. Psy-ops. More than likely, these particular psy-ops go undetected. They are covert. They are quiet. All right? We're talking about operating on the psyche, operating on the soul, operating on the mind as you would understand it in Western world science. All right? Martial law. Martial law. We have to understand this. All right? From not the perspective of sitting in front of your TV, eating goddamn popcorn and seeing whether or not you recognize some of the faces of the brothers and sisters that are stealing candy bars and Tylenol and shit out of CVS. We're not talking about that. Oh, excuse my language. We're talking about the mayor coming on and bringing forth and announcing martial law. All right? We're going to bring Darren Muhammad and a few people into this particular discussion in a few minutes from Baltimore, and we're going to break this whole Psy-ops thing down. Martial law is the imposition of the highest ranking military officer as the military governor or as the head of the government, thus removing all power from the previous executive, legislative, and judicial branches of the government. Please understand what I'm saying. Once they institute martial law, they remove all power from previous executive, legislative, and judicial branches of the government. There's your three again, if you're doing numerology out there, all right, dealing with the triple alphabet theory. So let's understand this from a perspective, from a revolutionary perspective, and let's understand what these things mean to our people and what happens when they call for martial law, all right? What present laws that they have on the books are null and void when they institute martial law, when the mayor calls for the National Guard to come in. I understand. I'm sure ZaZa understands. Darren Muhammad and a few people listening to this, when they call for martial law, there are certain laws that are nullified and out of the window. So that gives them, the military, that gives them the right to bring in the National Guard, FEMA, and a few other people, multi-jurisdictional task force, and they come in, and when they institute martial law, all right, they go to work. All right, and we're going to break some of these things down in a minute, and exactly what they do in a place like Baltimore right now when they institute martial law. But when we were on the ground, when brothers and sisters was on the ground, and information was coming from Baltimore, there was a group of gang members that called a truce and came together, all right, to help guide and control the energy and the frustration of our people. There was a white woman from Channel 11 News. ZaZa put this information up on NMEmindz Radio on Facebook, which was very interesting, and we want you to hear what these brothers was actually saying, and you need to judge for yourself and sum this information up about what's going on the ground there in Baltimore. The call-in number is 347-633-9644. We definitely want to hear what you have to say about this particular subject tonight. We're talking about the Psy-ops, the prelude to the global population control, and dealing with particularly martial law, and we want to talk about what's going on in Baltimore as Baltimore burns. All right? So let's dive into this.
To share something with you. You know, throughout the night, I've had a number of young people say to me and stop me and say, you really need to talk to us and you really need to get our voice heard. And I said, you are absolutely right. And so we have a portion of an interview we did with some of the gang members who were attending the meeting tonight with church leaders. And here's some of what they had to say. Here's your opportunity. Tell me what's going on.
Man, we want to tell the people of the city right now, of Baltimore City, that the image that they're trying to portray of the gangs in Baltimore, the BGF, the Bloods, the Crips, we did not make that truce to harm cops. We did not come together against the cops. We're not about to allow y'all to paint this picture of us. We got soldiers out here right now. We dirty. You know, we dirty. They threw bombs at us for trying to stop what's going on right now. Y'all not about to do that to us.
So your game plan tonight has been to stop the violence.
To stop what's going on. That's all we trying to do. We want justice for Freddie Gray. We believe in that.
What do you think when you see this happening in the streets? Businesses looted, cars on fire, police injured.
It just makes us look bad. It makes us look real bad, and it's backing up what they're saying about us. They saying we animals and we acting like savages out here. But I also agree with I don't agree with what's going on, but I understand what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I understand why people mad, but we gotta handle things another way.
What do you think?
Me, I basically think the same thing. I mean, we've been out here all day trying to prevent people from breaking the stores. They hit us with a bomb. They burnt my shirt. They ripped it, and we were still standing right there as a whole. They heard it, but we came right back there, hold hands together, and we marched together down here. We still holding strong, and we just want them to stop hurting us so we can just live our life and keep going. We trying to help them, and like we helping us. Without them doing that, it's just going to make everybody angry. We don't want to be angry. So we, as a whole community, we make everybody, calm everybody down, because they can't come to us because they done already hurt a lot of people, killed a lot of people for no apparent reason.
What group are you in? What group is this?
This is the Bloods right here. This Bloods. We got the Pyroos over here, and we got Bloods over here. We stand as one, though. We're one right now.
It's Black Men United.
We united
our goal was Saturday. The pictures that went viral Saturday.
We're not Blood or BGF. We are Black men, and we are united, and we're not going to stop. No matter if y'all even keep on trying to say we out here trying to shoot police. We're not trying to shoot police. We're not going to let that stop us from doing what we already originally planned to do.
So people who are watching right now, what do you want to say to them? How do you want to explain what is happening tonight?
Basically, stop believing everything you hear in the media. If you were not at that protest on the day that we protested for Freddie, you don't know what actually happened. They didn't tell y'all that when we walked past the eateries downtown that people threw beds at us. People called us names, everything. To be blunt, they called us those things. So the protest was agitated,
So you guys feel that you're getting the blame, correct,
Exactly.
for what's happening, and you're saying that.
Yes, ma'am.
That as member of the Bloods.
Just because we black and we have flags on, they assume that we gonna hurt somebody or do this or gonna bring the next person down. And most of us, as us older people, we bring everybody closer, make sure they got jobs, go to school on time and all that. But they just making it seem like, oh, he's black, he got a flag on, he's doing the wrong thing, and we not doing the wrong thing. Like me, I just came home, and I'm trying to do any and everything to prevent the going back home. You know what I'm saying? I got locked up for helping a female out downtown on Baltimore Street. Her baby father was beating her up, and I stopped it. I tried to prevent it. I used self-defense, even though there's no self-defense law in there, but I still rocked out. They locked me up just because I'm me. I'm a black male.
The main thing is they've been portraying us in this way for so long. And where we are in our environment, a lot of the neighborhoods, a lot of the so-called gang members and gang bangers, that's where they come from and where they are. The point that we're trying to get across is that we are of a different faction. And what that's going to do is it start to show people in the community that we can come together as a unit and be unified and be peaceful. It was so much stuff that was going on Saturday that got portrayed in the wrong direction or in the wrong light that for some reason, who knows, right, why they won't paint this picture in a positive way. Like when a group of 30 Bloods walks up on a group of 30 Crips and everybody salutes and shakes hands and hugs and starts to take pictures, but then the pictures that they take, they say, oh no, now they're uniting to kill cops. Like they won't tell you the good side of what we're really, really doing in these communities. Like while we out here at this church tonight.
And let's get one thing understood. Although our cause is righteous, we cannot control every person. Just because a person is a member of the Bloods or Crips, we can't control every gang in the city and say, stop this. At the end of the day, everybody has their own mind. But when we were downtown protesting, I'm going to estimate that we were about 30 people strong. Out of all the thousands of people that were down there, you mean to tell me that you guys are pointing the finger at us because we had colors on? No, we can't have that. That's not what we stand for, and that's not what we're standing for today. Justice for Freddie Gray.
Thank you.
Justice.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, here's an understatement. Is that not a very different perspective that you probably have ever heard? So, and you know, oftentimes we have to beg people to talk to us sometimes, particularly on nights like this. As you can see, they very, very much wanted to talk to us and very, very much wanted to share their perspective.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to get back in the groove again. We're going to turn y'all loose. We're going to keep the thing rolling a little while.
This thing right here is going out to that 50% of the black youth that's living below the poverty line. You know, that pitch rock, pitch block, flip cop, but a black leader sit, watch, and blame that shit on hip-hop. This hop's about to happen. He's Timothy Taylor, and he's about to do it again. Flow with E3's like wind. MCs don't got nothing for him. Whatever you need, I got that. You better believe I hot that. Drop down and get G'd along, shorty, fuck that. This here rap thing's a hobby. I do it a little too good. Whatever you name, you bore me. You corny, fuck your hood. Because I'm top notch, block, cock, hop shot. Inevitably, for fucking with me, you catch a speed knot. Niggas believe not. Fuck what y'all heard, I'm him. Follow my lead, intelligent does it again. This ain't no exploitation. Boy, that did what it is. Deliver my manifestation. It light of the life I live. Ignorant exaggerations about how y'all got shot and shit. How y'all be copping bricks, breaking bread with cops and shit. Niggas preposterous. I'm back on top of this. Intelligent music has not slash Masada shit.
My tough and tough. So say they my Chris, so say they my blood. This is for my youth and yours. When them get hungry, you know them will shoot. This is for my tough and tough. So say they my Chris, so say they my blood. This is for my youth and yours. When them get hungry, you know them will lose.
He's head over heels in love with that USC, I cuff it. This MIP, I touch it. I do my thing like fuck it. When on the front line, crunch time, come time. Show as the sunshine, I'm gon' bust mine. Never giving a wrong impression. Ready your weapons cause you say you want a revolution. Well there it is. Most MCs come from slums. Some so they sold for crumbs. Most MCs emanate keep it real, be keeping it real dumb. They wanna be king of the Negroes. They want the biggest rims. He want a Monox with 3 crows. He want the biggest Benz. They wanna be Joseph Mobutu. I come from the line of Lumumba. I move like Harriet Tubman and Kwame and Nkrumah. Why niggas act cute, flash, loot, clap, shoot. I'm in the black hoop, breaking bread with black youth. My movement grassroots, established on some past truths. Black revolutionaries ready, aim back.
For my tough and tough. So say they my Chris, so say they my blood. This is for my youth and yours. When them get hungry, you know them will shoot. This is for my tough and tough. them my blood. This is for my youth and yours. When them get hungry, you know them will lose.
This ain't no party song. No, I ain't started home. And I ain't hardly on that bottle of Bacardi Rome. Deliver the gift I give, sip, young, blessed enough. I'm giving my life to live. Kaif is delivering me up. Don't wanna go over your head. Sometimes I'm a little too much. They telling me water it down. I'm telling them this is a cup. Black leaders, teachers, preachers, blaming the youth for stuff that's nothing. Look, let me break down something. You niggas know little to nothing. They cutting the social programs. They stopping the age of the youth. They moving the jobs to Taiwan. They build more jobs in schools. I'm breaking my back with the po-fo who feeling that hell of oppression. My lungs full up of gun smoke and misguided aggression. Live on the front page, black rage in the stage. Rinsing my pain out the barrel of a 12 gauge. That did that hippie Newton, Syria, France, Fannin. Black revolutionaries ready, aim, blast, cannon.
My tough and tough. So say they my Chris, so say they my blood. This is for my youth and yours. When them get hungry, you know them will shoot. This is for my tough and tough. So say they my Chris, so say they my blood. This is for my youth and yours. When them get hungry, you know them will shoot. Them drugs and thugs want live it up. You see the guns and the drugs, them can't give it up. Them need profit and the men them want push it up. Like any other man.
1, 2, 1, 2. Yes. My man Wise, Intelligent Youth and Thugs. Alright, from Poor Righteous Teachers. Alright. That was an interesting clip that we just heard. Or if I didn't tell you, excuse me, I'm supposed to do the station ID. This is Professor Griff and Miss ZaZa Ali here on NMEmindz Radio. That's very interesting with the gang members coming together calling a truce. All right? Just to let y'all know that is exactly, precisely, once again, underlining exactly what they don't want. They never want to see us unified, even on a street level. This is the thing that they fear the most. They fear us coming together, the religions coming together, the pastors, the preachers. They fear us coming together, dealing with politics, even if politics means the science of governing people. They fear us coming together. They fear the gangs coming together on a street level, the street organizations. They fear the conscious community coming together. All the brothers with the different ideologies, they fear us coming together. And then on top of that, they fear us coming together because once we come together, all of us represent that messianic voice. And those of us that still have the savior complex and can't get beyond it and past it may hear the voice of the voiceless inside of the unification of all of our people coming together, as Marcus Garvey said, one God, one aim, and one destiny. And this is the thing that they fear. And this is one of the tactics that they use in racism, white supremacy, to keep us divided and at each other's throats. And we must understand this particular dynamic and how this thing is going down and not fall for the same trick. Not the political trick that they're playing, putting a black woman in office to speak to us. Some damaging words from the mayor. All right? Calling black men and young black people thugs on TV. Having that go out to continuously criminalizing and demoralizing black men in the face of everyone that's watching and watching this particular scene go down. Right at the cusp of Jade Helm 15. Right at the cusp of Jade Helm 15. And we have to understand exactly what's going on and what they're about to do in reference to martial law. All right? We have to understand and keep our finger on the pulse of what's going on in America. I need everyone to tune in and get your and take mental notes and get a physical pen and piece of paper right now so you write this down. All right? I need you to go to whatreallyhappened.com. We want to talk about the history of the government, that they don't want you to learn and don't want you to know about. We want to talk about the whole idea of the United States being prepared and preparing to turn America military dictatorship. I'm talking about everything from Rodney King riots to the unannounced training exercise over American cities. I'm talking about drones, land drones, air drones. I'm talking about FEMA camps. I'm talking about the United States military is being trained and turned into a military force, all right, to take America and lock America down. I'm talking about from 2,000 to 3,000 square miles. So why is the United States military dealing with civil disturbances and planning war at home, all right, with false flags, and not only false flags, with incidents like this to trigger martial law, to trigger civil disturbances in America so they can implement martial law, all right? So let's understand it from that perspective. This particular document that Frank Morales wrote about, he says, under the heading of the civil disturbance planning, the United States military is training troops and police to suppress democratic opposition in America. So even if you raise your voice up on making a YouTube clip, or you're putting something on Facebook and you raise your voices up, they got cyber police sitting back now, monitoring what's going on the internet, like they're monitoring this show right now, and we need to understand that. All right? What is the master plan of the Department of the DOD and the Department of Defense Civil Disturbances Plan 52-2, which is the code name for Operation Garden Plot? Now, this was back in 1968. So you know if they had this contingency plan already in place, imagine what they have now. Fast forward 2015. Let's talk about the framework for what they're doing now. We're talking about Operation Garden Plot has been updated over the last 3 decades. Most recently, in 1991, the plan was activated during Los Angeles riots of 1992, and more than likely during the recent anti-WTO, which is the World Trade Organization, battle in Seattle. Now, when that particular thing went down in Seattle, you didn't see that too many black people out there. But when you're talking about civil unrest in urban areas, in black communities, all right, in target areas, all right, that Jade Helm 15 outlined, all right, it's a much different scenario. But brothers and sisters, when you watch even when you watch CNN dealing with the psychological operation, we were the police at the mall. We were the police when the stores were getting looted. It almost seemed like they just let the brothers and sisters run rampant and crazy. And those brothers and sisters that are out there that's just acting wild and looting, we understand your frustration and your dynamic. I'm not advocating that you loot, but Jesse Ben said it very eloquently. He said, if property damage is more upsetting to you than institutionalized racism, your moral compass needs realignment. I'm going to say that again. If property damage is more upsetting to you than institutionalized racism, and brothers and sisters not getting justice in Baltimore and in Ferguson and St. Louis and all throughout the United States of America, if property damage is more upsetting to you than institutionalized racism, your moral compass needs to be realigned. Very well put. There are people that are stepping up to the plate, on and offline, on and off TV, as we're monitoring this particular thing. But whatreallyhappened.com, Frank Morales laid it out. He says, current United States military preparations for suppressing domestic civil disturbance, including the training of National Guard troops and police, are part of a long history of American internal security measures dating back to the first American war. Generally, these measures have sought to thwart the aims of social justice movement, embodying the concept that within the civil body politic lurks an enemy that one day the military might have to fight. That enemy, brothers and sisters, and they're not afraid to say it, that enemy is you. One day they know you're going to rise up. And remember, all of our brothers and sisters, blood that has been spilt from Los Angeles to New York, all right, from the border of Canada all the way down to the border of Mexico. We're going to remember everyone that have been murdered at the hands of the police, all right? And one day we'll pay them back tenfold from everything that they have done to black people here in the wilderness of North America. So Operation Garden Plot, this was 1968, so we need to keep these particular operations in mind, because what we're doing is we're understanding history. We're pressing the historical reset button. We're studying what went down in history, all right, and we're dealing with what's going on today. Let's understand what martial law is, brothers and sisters. Let's understand what martial law is and get a deeper understanding. So maybe, see, this is the political education class that we needed to have set up prior to something like this going down. So when it goes down, we can understand how to redirect our anger and our attention and what we need to be talking about. All right, what we need to be doing, because these particular things and this kind of information will set a precedent and actually guide our young people, because we will go out on the streets now unpoliticized and knowing and understanding exactly what's going on dealing with this psychological operation, because that's exactly what they're doing right now. Let's play another clip dealing with martial law and dealing with what's going on right now in Baltimore as we speak. This is Professor Griff and ZaZa Ali on NMEmindz Radio. We'll be right back.
Breaking news, the governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan, has just signed an executive order declaring a state of emergency and activated the National Guard after the Baltimore purge burned buildings and vehicles on Monday night. Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake has issued a citywide curfew, and the Maryland National Guard Adjunct General Linda Singh was quick to declare it's not martial law. Call it whatever you want, because the Army National Guard is ready to use any force ordered. Just recently, the Maryland Army National Guardsmen participated in a non-lethal individual weapons operator course, which trains soldiers how to respond as a civil disturbance reaction force.
But I feel a lot more confident that we can go and do our job and execute the mission. It's really helped to kind of put it into perspective what, the person we're going to be going against, the rioter, the unruly person, what they're going to be going through.
They get to experience firsthand the kind of things they'll be using on people, and that'll better help them utilize them against other people and also be good stewards of the equipment. When used properly, they're extremely effective tools, and they just need a little respect, and this course teaches how to respect those tools.
The guardsmen were trained on the use of taser, pepper spray, crowd control techniques, and more, preparing them to assist in civil emergencies. The Guard also has been trained for traditional warfare and live fire scenarios, while Maryland civilians are armed with rocks. The Guard has also
Sorry, I had to cut that one short. That was the breaking news dealing with martial law and how they actually train police officers and activating and reactivating some law enforcement retirees and some other people to come back out on the streets to deal with this civil unrest in Baltimore. On the line, got a good friend of mine here in Baltimore that's been on the front lines doing the damn thing, my good brother Darren Muhammad from State of the City. Darren, are you there?
Yes, I am. Peace, Brother Griff. How are you, brother?
Peace. How you feel? ZaZa couldn't join us tonight. She's taking care of some serious business, but she sends her greetings. She says peace. All right?
Yeah. Yes, greetings and shout out, much love to Sister ZaZa, Queen ZaZa, for all the work that she continues to do and has done for our people, brother. And just thank you for just giving me the opportunity anytime to be on with you on the line with NMEmindz Radio.
Oh, okay, good brother. Listen, since you're on the ground here in Baltimore, give us an idea of what's going on from a psychological or Psy-ops perspective, and just let us know what's going on.
Well, from a psychological and Psy-ops perspective, brother, when you look at what's going on, you got Maryland National Guard, Maryland State Police, police from other jurisdictions within Maryland, Prince George's County, Montgomery County, Carroll County. We've got 24 counties in Maryland, and they all have gotten in on basically this feeding frenzy, participating in this outright fascism of locking down Baltimore City right now. We have a 10 o'clock imposed curfew that goes in effect tonight. Unless you're at work, can't be on the street. If you're on the street, you'll probably be detained, which of course means you'll be arrested. And so this is what we're looking at right now. As relates to citizens were out and about today, but many of the probably the stores, some businesses were closed, some colleges were closed, schools was closed. So there was no public schools in Baltimore today. So of course that left a lot of parents in limbo with what to do. Of course, in terms of their children, those that maybe had to work. So it's created a whole bunch of instability for the parents and just for families. Stores that may have been closed due to the damage, then of course that's a concern for many people in terms of being able to get access to food, being able to get access to water. But we've seen a lot of brothers and sisters in the community stepping up, making sure elders are looked out for, making sure our women and children are looked out for. And as it relates to what happened yesterday, we're going to go a little deeper into that because there was many layers and players to what happened yesterday, but not just what happened yesterday. This thing has been planned for at least 2 years in which they had drills in that same community where these so-called riots or lootings took place, but we call them uprising. And we can break that down and explain everything that happened before yesterday, and then again what took place yesterday in northwest Baltimore around Mondawmin Mall, which was the epicenter for everything that took place.
Right. So let me ask you something. I see a couple of people online saying some very foolish stuff like, yes, all the police shooting got to stop. Research and you see more white have been killed by cops than blacks. Also, if this is about cops, then why all the why is it is all racial to whites? I'll tell you why. It's not about cops. It's about Freddie. If it's about Freddie, who is Freddie and what does Freddie represent? Some individual, or does Freddie represent the masses of us that are tired of getting shot down? And I've seen how people get shot down by the police. How did all of this kick off in Baltimore?
Well, all of this kicked off. Young brother Freddie Gray, who lived adjacent to a housing complex or housing development called Gilmore Homes. And on April the 12th, for that Sunday morning, about 8:30 in the morning, Freddie apparently was outside with another young man who they still have yet to identify who that young man was. And he saw 6 police officers, and they said that Freddie ran. Now, they didn't see any probable cause. There was no dealing of drugs. There was no dealing of anything that was ever released in any reports, even to this day, that Freddie was doing anything illegal. And so Freddie ran. They chased him, and a couple of officers held him down. You could see them put their knee on his neck and on his back. And when Freddie gets up, he's screaming, as a child would scream, uncontrollably, because clearly something happened in terms of the damage to his body or damage to his spine. And you could see that his leg had went limp. And you saw 2 women that were there filming it on their phones, and they said to the officers, his leg is broke, because they were trying to get him to stand up. Now, that videotape is for the most part, disappeared. It's very hard to find unless you really do some thorough research to find that videotape. There are now about probably 3 or 4 other videotapes that they're showing, but they stopped showing that videotape, and when they do show it, they've taken the sound away so you don't hear Freddie screaming. So he eventually is put in the paddy wagon and taken, not to the central booking where all arrestees are taken. He's taken to first, not even to the Western District Station, which is only about 3 blocks from where he was arrested. So he was never charged with anything. The only thing they came back later to say was that the brother had a switchblade knife on him, but that wasn't on the outside of his pockets. That was on the inside of his pockets. And you, according to the law, Terry versus Ohio, you could only pat the outside of their pockets. You can't go in nobody's pockets. You know what I mean? And they never had probable cause. So the media has stopped even asking that question. So nevertheless, he's taken and put in a van, and then the driver goes and apparently stops someplace else, and for some reason they still haven't told us the time frame of why this driver went someplace else. And then they made another stop and picked up another arrestee on Pennsylvania and Dolphin, and he was in the van, but he was, they said, in a kind of way, have the van, it's compartmentalized, so he wasn't in the same space where Freddie was. Finally, by that time, Freddie is unconscious, and they call for a paramedic. And then they had to take Freddie to shock trauma. He's in shock trauma from Sunday to 12th, and come to find out he had crushed larynx, 3 broken vertebrae in his neck. So clearly he was already paralyzed, and I had spoken to some family friends who said that if he lived, then he would be paralyzed from the neck down. So Freddie died as a result of his injuries on April the 19th, which was on that following Sunday, is when he actually died. But then normally the policy is in Baltimore City, whenever there's a high-profile case of a victim going to shock trauma, there's a gentleman by the name of world-renowned doctor named Dr. Anthony Scalia, who would normally come out, speak to the public, talk about the severity of the injury of the person, what their chances are to recovery. We still haven't heard from Dr. Anthony Scalia. So he's world-renowned. He is to the University of Maryland what Dr. Ben Carson was to Johns Hopkins.
Right.
To give you the picture, paint a picture of him. So we never heard from Anthony Scalia. And then normally if there's a high-profile crime, if there's a issue of police abuse, a shooting, then in 48 hours, what the mayor and police department has said, in order to have transparency with the community and the citizens and the media, that they would release the names of the police officers. Well, they were released in 24, 48 hours. And we had an incident last year, brother, where 2 white police officers were patrolling in a predominantly white community called Canton, downtown, adjacent to the Inner Harbor. And these 2 white police officers got a call that there was a dog loose, a Shar-Pei, at 8 o'clock in the morning. And they were so irate that they had to go and deal with this issue of this dog, that the police officer, whose name was Bulger, when he got out the car, he said, I'm going to gut this damn dog. And he got out, and his partner held the dog down. And he slit the dog's throat from ear to ear. They videotaped it, put it up on the social media, and then lied and told the owner that the dog had bit somebody, so they had to have the dog euthanized. I bring that point up because this happened on Saturday morning. By Monday afternoon, the police officers' faces were on television. These police was arrested and charged, brother.
Oh, wow.
so here we was, a dog. So here we are with Freddie Gray, and so I have to give you the names of the officers who were involved. And these weren't like just ordinary rank-and-file officers. And that's what we're still asking is, why would a lieutenant be out on a bike at 8:30 in the morning?
Right.
But there was a lieutenant by the name of Brian Rice, sergeant by the name of Alicia White, officer by the name of William Porter, Officer Garrett Miller, Officer Edward Nero, and Officer Caesar Goodson, who were the officers that were involved in the death of Freddie Gray. And so immediately there was the cover your ass, try to put the spin on it that Freddie ran, and so none of them had put out a report, but they did do a statement that night. But the mayor and the police chief Batts, who comes from Oakland, so he's had some history in terms of, again, the death of our brother out in Oakland that he was complicit in covering up, Oscar Grant. But nevertheless, so we saw this happen with Freddie Gray in terms of his death, and from there everything began to escalate. In terms of the demonstrations that began on that Sunday, there were some that went to that Western District Police Station on the Saturday before, on the 18th. And there was a group that came down out of New York. I think it was United for Justice or Justice League, I think it was the name of the group. They were supposed to be marching from New York to Washington, D.C. So they just happened to be in town the same day for the weekend that Freddie dies. Then they link up, and they're at Jamal Bryant's church. I'm going to come back and talk about Jamal Bryant because he's tied heavily to President Obama, the Department of Justice, Department of Defense. He's tied heavily to the FEMA clergy response teams, you know what I mean? And he's a boule. And so he's just one of the magicians that they're putting out there to make it look like he's really standing for the people, when the majority of his security team and his church are Baltimore City police officers. So nothing could be further from...
Advisors to the king.
Advisors to the king. Yeah, he's a Morehouse grad as well. so now the family of Freddie, of brother Freddie Gray, who was 25 years old, somehow gets prominent attorney Billy Murphy, who's a boule, who comes out of the historic Murphy family, who started the Afro and et cetera. But Billy Murphy has not really fought for the rights of black people in the city since he became a corporate attorney. He works harder now for the multinational corporations than he does for our people. And so I've been asking the question, how did they get Billy Murphy? Because Billy Murphy don't usually deal with these kind of issues. And at a time when we see our brothers and sisters being killed in Baltimore City, at a time that we were under this kind of zero tolerance under Martin O'Malley, who wants to be president. When he was the mayor, he locked up 100,000 black men and women and children over a 6-year period. 100,000 of us were being arrested because they were basically cooking the books, and it was based on getting crime stats. And all of this came from the zero tolerance policy that William Bratton brought down from New York. So all of this, people see The Wire, and they try to make that connection between Baltimore and The Wire, and the character Garcetti was Martin O'Malley. And this current mayor, she was Martin O'Malley's lover at the time. This black woman, she's a black-white woman. She was his lover at the time. So much so that when he married into the Karen family, which is one of the Irish Catholic Jesuit mob families that's been running Baltimore for years, see, he married into that family so that he could move up and become mayor. But he was involved with Stephanie Rawlins at the time, and when he broke off the relationship, she was talking about committing suicide. So it gives you the idea of what kind of woman we have that's there, because she was his floor manager as the city council president, and some say she was just his outright whore manager, brother, if I can be frank with you tonight.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Scandal's coming right off the screen right now, and it's coming full circle, so we understand it now. That's why we need to talk about the Psy-ops. Does life imitate art? Does art imitate life? Is this real life or what we see? Because some people can write this off. They say, Griff, is this another false flag? Is this really happening? Or is this fake, like they said about the brother that got shot in South Carolina? Is it fake? One woman said, to my understanding, all of this is going on for a man with a rap sheet since 2007, selling drugs to our children. Why is it that white people don't do this when we kill one of them? I got 2 questions for you, Marie Timothy. A, pull up an ongoing history of black cops shooting white teenagers. Let's talk about that, and then let's talk about the whole idea. We can answer that question for you, sister. You know what happens? White people mob up, and they go get whoever killed their children.
Right, yeah. Did you see that?
That's what they do.
No, did you see that recent...
Excuse me?
Did you see that recent fight at Walmart in Arizona?
Oh, yes, I did. In the parking lot.
Between the white cops and the white family. Yes. you didn't hear nobody doing no white on white violence with that one, right?
Right, so we don't see black Negroes and Negresses like her don't speak on that. Because nobody in this world, nobody in history has ever gotten their freedom by appealing to the moral sense of a people who oppress us over and over again. You can't appeal to these people. We're not going to get free like that.
No,
and we need to understand this particular dynamic, man. So dealing with the Psy-ops and what's going on a psychological level, some things that are going on behind the scenes. Can you speak to the relationship between the brothers in the street that's going on and the FOI that we've seen on TV trying to help guide it? What's your perspective on that, and how is this going down, and how do they play into that?
Well, the brothers that are part of the Bloods and Crips street organization, Black Guerrilla Family and others, have come together to unite and are going out, of course, in the street and working, of course, with the FOI to bring about peace. But the police department don't want to see this kind of peace. The state police do not want to see this kind of peace. Those behind the scene that are running and instructing this puppet mayor and this puppet governor, who is a newly elected governor, selected governor, who is a Jesuit as well. So they clearly don't want to see that kind of peace because it's interfering with their ultimate plans are in Baltimore City. So this is what we're seeing that's going on. So they have a lot of provocateurs that they have among the brothers in those street organizations that try to foment, again, clashes between the police and our people in the street so that they can further their agenda right now. So we're going to go deeper on this as far as this Psy-ops, because a lot of this was planned at least 2 years ago in that same community. They had drills called the Urban Area Security Initiative, and it was run by the Maryland, just like they have FEMA in every state. They now have an emergency management agency, and normally they'll take the first name or first initial of the state. So in Maryland, we have an agency called MEMA. Then in Baltimore City, they have an emergency management agency called BEMA. So they had a street initiative in this same community in Gilmore Homes and Sandtown, Winchester, up around Mondawmin Mall, where you saw everything taking place yesterday.
Right.
So it's no accident that all of this was rehearsed 2 years ago, and then we finally see it come to fruition, of course, within the last 2 weeks. But they used the death and the case or as they call it, a critical incident of Freddie Gray. That's usually the language they use, and the reason why you know is because all the international media and national media has been here in Baltimore in the last 2 weeks, and no one has asked why. I mean, this is almost the same way they did in Ferguson. It's almost the same as we saw in Katrina, where the media was already there. Blackwater was there 6 weeks before the storm hit. All of this they knew was going to take place. Because I've been asking the question, it's just an ordinary young brother from the hood, and we've had politicians that have been killed, such as Councilman Ken Harris, and the national and international media never came in. We just had a clerk of the court who died mysteriously at 82 years old about a month ago, and no media covered his funeral like this. I mean, you had Morgan State University doing play-by-play of Freddie Gray's funeral, man. That's never happened. But I got to let you in on something. A lot of the HBCUs are heavily tied because they're getting the Department of Defense and Homeland Security money now. So a lot of our HBCUs that's desperate for money are getting strings attached, and eventually we're gonna get into this COPS program because it was the week before Freddie Gray was killed at Al Sharpton's National Action Network. There was attorney Billy Murphy, who I mentioned, who spoke there, was with Al Sharpton. There was Obama's head of who's the executive president of the COPS program, the Community Office Policing, Ron Davis, who got an award from Al Sharpton there. There was a couple of the ministers that are part of the FEMA clergy response team that we've seen that was there as well. Right. And so all we have to do is take note that whenever these incidents have been occurring, Griff, we see the same usual suspects, almost like a modern-day P.T. Barnum or the Bingo Long All-Stars. We see Al Sharpton, we see Jesse Jackson, we've seen Jamal Bryant, and we've seen some of these clergy response teams, and we've seen Malik Zulu Shabazz. I got to throw his name in there because every time something happened, we see Malik, and he's not come clear to say which one of these intelligence agencies he may be working for, whether he's directly for the White House, whether he's working directly with the Department of Justice. But we've seen that when he was the head of the new Black Panther Party, and we've seen it since he started this organization, Black Lawyers for Justice. And I haven't seen him file one multi-class action lawsuit against any of these police departments for their crimes of killing black folk. I haven't seen him do it. But he keeps coming into cities, and he gets the young people stirred up. And when the young people went downtown Saturday after they had the rally at City Hall, Malik was nowhere to be found, to my knowledge. And I still haven't seen him pop back up. But he always seems to make his way into the microphones. You know what I mean? We saw him in Ferguson saying he was leading the march. Who do we want? Darren Wilson. How do we want him dead? Well, Darren Wilson, they never touched Darren Wilson. We saw him in Sanford, Florida. Who do we want? George Zimmerman. How do we want him dead? He's still living alive and well. You know what I mean? And so if you don't go after somebody, you're definitely not going to forecast it. So what is he doing? He's coming in for fomenting our young people, and then he steps away. And don't have any tangible results to show any success in terms of what he's done. And I've had these debates with him. I debated him about Obama. You know what I mean? And he said at that time then, when he was the head of the new Black Panther Party, that he owed his increase in his membership. This is what he said, quote, he owed his increase in memberships of new recruits to the candidate and the candidacy and the campaign of Barack Obama. And I said to him, you know what you're saying? You're saying that all the work that Dr. Khaled did and our great revolutionary organizations means nothing until this one black man is chosen, and he was in denial about all of these organizations that we've been taught about, Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission. He said he didn't know anything about any of that. So he's been suspect to me for some time. I say that out of love because this is yes, sir.
No, go on.
No, because I've seen these contradictory behaviors. You know what I mean? And we have to begin to explain it and expose it. And so we're under so much Psy-ops that they brought Jesse Jackson in, and they basically taking over black radio. I mean, he's on every black radio station, show except mine. You know what I mean?
And ours, me and Zaza, he's not on here. But listen, for the people that's listening to us, the Psy-ops, we need to understand Psy-ops it means psychological operations. Plan operations to convey select information and indicators to foreign audiences to influence their emotions, motives, objective, reasoning, and ultimately the behavior of foreign government organizations, groups, and individuals. The purpose of a psychological operation is to induce and reinforce foreign attitudes and behaviors favorable to the originators, objectives, also called Psy-ops. All right, so when we talk about a psychological operation, we're talking about the vital part of a broad range of United States political, military, economic, and ideological activities used by the United States government to secure national objectives. Psy-ops is a dissemination of truthful information to foreign agencies in support. What they're trying to do is galvanize the feeling, the thinking, the attitudes, and behaviors of sympathizers. So when they initiate these particular things like going in the hood, of course the alphabet boys and the Negroes that come before the microphones are in on it. I hear people, young people saying now, is this planned, Professor Griff? I think that they got the police officers got an order to shoot and kill black men. Do you feel that way, Brother Darren? That's what's going on across the country?
Yes, sir. Well, it's increasing, and what they have to do, as you mentioned with the psychological and the psyops, is again dehumanize our young people even more. And what they did yesterday. Let me come to Saturday before I come to yesterday, because I was on the light rail coming back in from doing my show, and as I'm coming back in, I'm on the train at about 5 o'clock, and we're passing Camden Yard. The train lets you out right there, Camden Yards, where the Orioles play. But I noticed, and there were many people on the plane, black and white. Wasn't no frictions or anything like that was taking place. But what I noticed is normally at the O's game they have mass police presence. They have police on motorcycles. They have the traffic control that's out there patrolling and controlling traffic so people can cross the street. When I looked out on the train and looked out into the road, there was no police out there. So they let me know, as I said to myself, they're planning something, and whatever they're planning for it to go down right in this vicinity. So that was at 5 o'clock. By 6 o'clock is when they had the big disturbance downtown, right? But the reason how you can tell there was some provocateurs is that you remember in Boston when they had the marathon, and there was the group that was there called Craft International, and they had on the not the skull and bones, but the skull shirts and the skull uniforms. Right. Well, they had them here in Baltimore on Saturday. Nobody's talking about it. You understand? They manage these kind of tabletop exercise in these crises. You understand? Right. And so the mayor came out and slipped and said, we told the police to stand down so that the protesters could destroy certain areas. Then she had to come back and try to clean that up over the past 24 hours. So when you saw provocateurs, which they were saying was protesters that were stomping on the police cars, that wasn't by accident. That was a part of the psychological, psyops that was being put out there. Right, that was by design.
Okay.
Right. So then you can come back and say the police can't deal with these young people. We got to bring in the National Guard. You know what I mean? So then that was on Saturday. And so they had people that weren't from Baltimore that they had bust in. And I got to say that because that ties back into what happened in Ferguson when it came out that George Soros put up $33 million to fund many of those groups that we think are really fighting for us, but they really represent Obama and the Department of Defense. Black Lives Matter. Sometimes we don't want to talk about that, but that group was set up by Soros and the LGBTQ community. Hands Up, Don't Shoot Coalition. You know, these youth groups, Dream Defenders, the Disciples for Justice, they call DJs, they come out of the Department of Justice. Then there's another group that they brought in called FEMA Corps. You remember we talking about Obama Corps?
Right.
It's the FEMA Corps. The FEMA Corps are young people that they bring in also to be disruptive, but they come in pretending like they're part of your movement. See? So they create the problem to get their reaction to bring about the solutions. So this is what we saw on Saturday. So we saw police out in the street, and then they brought in police from around the region. And when they bring them in, many of them, in terms of the gear they wear, they're not wearing badges because they don't want you or name tags. They don't want you to identify who they are. So this is what we've been seeing. Now, I got to bring your attention to this article that was at not whatdoesitmean.com, but the EUTimes.net, where they said that NSA, which is a part of this as well, but they were using the long-range acoustic device in Baltimore over the Baltimore population for the last couple of days. So when people saw young people, this is how the story went yesterday. The young people were let out of school early at Douglas, which is across from Montgomery Mall. Before they were let out, they all get text messages that there's going to be a purge from Montgomery Mall all the way downtown. Now, black youth don't use the word purge. And for those that may not know, that's based on the movie The Purge, which was all about the government and the government saying you got a right to kill right? There's no law, or as they say with Alex DeCrowley, do what thou will, right?
Which is the whole of the law,
so that the date was going to be, what was that date in the movie? 322 or 323, which was the 223 out of the way, which is Skull and Bones, remember, the Order of Death.
Right, exactly.
Right. So they said that this was going to be a purge, but nobody has ever stopped now. In the news media, this is how you know the corporate-controlled news media is a part of it. Nobody has stopped to ask, where did that text come from? They can find out where anything initiates in this country.
Exactly.
Nobody's asked who sent that text out. You understand? Then at the same time, when the funeral is taking place with Freddie Gray around the same time, before school lets out, they send out a message which came from Instagram, and it's almost the same narrative that they used in Ferguson, and also with the shooter that they said that left Baltimore and went all the way to New York and killed 2 police officers, which is a false flag. I think his name was Ishmael Borrell or Bimel, something like that. But nevertheless, that was again another Psy-ops move. But nevertheless, when asked who sent out that message, because Baltimore and their Department of Emergency Management, they also have a department called Rumor Control. Their job is to spit out rumors or to make sure they pull back rumors as far as any information getting out right now. That's exactly. In every city they have a Department of Rumor Control. So they clearly sent this out to say that the Bloods and Crips and Black Guerrillas were coming together and were going to kill police officers. Now, if they were going to do that, they sure wouldn't broadcast it. They wouldn't forecast it. And in Baltimore City, I got to let you in that the only police officers that have been killed recently have been killed by Baltimore City police officers. I've led demonstrations for an officer by the name of William Torbett, a black police officer, good brother, 9-year veteran. He was shot 23 times outside a nightclub downtown. After he was jumped by some patrons, 4 of his fellow officers fired 41 shots and hit him 23 times with a bulletproof vest on. And we showed videotape footage to people that one of the officers, the white officer named Paulie, he picked up the gun of Officer Torbett and fired it on the ground and put it next to Torbett to make it look like Torbett fired his gun off at one of the patrons so they could justify why they shot Torbett. You know what I mean? So and look, there was no national media to cover this. The mayor set up a blue ribbon commission to cover up the death of Officer William Torbett. And you can check that. You know what I mean? And I led all the demonstrations. Black police officers wouldn't come out and support me. They flanked me from behind the scenes, but they were afraid. White police officers wouldn't come out and stand with me.
Let me ask you something. So should we, the conscious community, black people, should we call on black police officers as the first line of defense for black people in the black neighborhood? Would they do that? Would black police officers stand up to their white fellow white police officers to protect us or do what they're supposed to do in reference to the law, which is abide by the law, being in law enforcement? Can we rely on black police officers?
We can't solely rely on them, brother, because they've shown, unfortunately, their true colors, man. There's an old saying in terms of it's a thin line, that thin blue line, but we starting to see a thick blue line, brother. We starting to see a real thick blue line right now. Because I say this because you got whites who are in the military, whites who are in police departments that's telling their people about the coming martial law. They're telling their people about Operation Jade Helm. We can't get blacks who's in the National Guard, blacks in the military to have this conversation with us. They run from us. They won't even tell us that they've been drilling, having these drills in terms of, again, for so-called urban riots and engagement of our people, man. So these people, in terms of whatever they put in their food, whatever they put in their medicine, whatever mind control they're under, they're very dangerous because they could use them right on their own family. They can use them right in their own communities against their people. So where are they? You know what I mean? If there exists, this now would be the time for them to be standing up. But we don't see them. Exactly. But we see the whites in the tradition of John Brown, or in the tradition of somebody like a Pat Tillman or Thomas Paine, the Knight of the Winter Soldier, who eventually, after they come after us, they're going to come after the so-called white patriots and the dissidents. You know what I mean? And they know that. Exactly. So they're at least sounding the alarm. Yes, sir.
Let me play a couple of commercials. Let me get a station ID, and we'll be right back, all right? Just hold on for 1 second, all right?
All right.
Hold on for 1 second. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, this is Professor Griff and Ms. ZaZa Ali here on NMEmindz Radio. All right. The call-in number is 347-633-9644. We're on with our good brother, Darren Muhammad, who have boots on the ground in Baltimore, giving us play-by-play on what's going on, dealing with the psychological operation that's going on in Baltimore and throughout the United States of America. Baltimore is a microcosm of what is going on and what's about to go on in the United States. So we need to get our black packs ready and get prepared. This is Professor Griff ZaZa Ali, and we'll be black.
Does your business need a boost? Did you hire Pookie and them to do your logo? At Free Yourself Designs, we can help you and your business stand out with our graphic design services, backed by our 100% custom design guarantee. Call us today, 919-964-FYD1. That's 919-964-3931. Or email us at freeyourselfdesigns@outlook.com. Free yourself and free your mind with Free Yourself Designs. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Wear your pride on your chest with Foxy's unique limited edition apparel for men, women, and kids. Check them out at myfoxy.com. That's MYFOCSI.com. At Foxy, they even have a variety of art, pillows, and more at myfoxy.com. Use coupon code MMBTRS14 and get 10% off your order. Get Foxy.
Test of emergency alert system capabilities. This test message has been initiated by National
War is being waged against us on all levels. Be dressed, be ready with Warrior Wear t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, and hoodies. Come check us out at our website, warriorwearrbg.com. Again, that's warriorwearrbg.com.
Step on it, it's getting late. I'm sorry, I'm so anxious. It's just tonight.
We're gonna be okay. Like always. Whoa.
No. This can't be happening. No one's gonna help us tonight.
This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge. At the siren, all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 hours. All emergency services will be suspended. Your government thanks you for your participation.
Oh my gosh. Remember all the good the purge does.
Check 1 2 1 2. This is Professor Griff ZaZa Ali, and we are black with my good brother Darren Muhammad in B-More City, with boots on the ground, giving us play-by-play on what's going on, dealing with the psychological operation that's going on. The name of the show is Psychological Operations, the Pre-lude to the Global Population Control Part 1 here on NMEmindz Radio with Professor Griff and ZaZa Ali. Brother Darren, you still there?
Yes, sir. Still here, brother.
Okay, there's a couple of questions I asked, and we're going to bring some callers in on this, the last few minutes of the show. But listen, good brother, when we talk about a psychological operation, is this something that people will readily notice if they're not privy to what goes on in a psychological operation, such as this?
No.
And
no, sir. It's not.
No, go on. I'm sorry.
Sir. No, sir. No, it's not something they would obviously and readily know, because oftentimes they get you wrapped up in the emotions. They use, of course, smoke and mirrors, and of course, they use sometimes to tap into our what we call that primitive side of us in terms of, again, using the racism, the placism, and the spacism. So we end up thinking that it's about race when it sometimes it's not totally all about the race, but they'll use that. You understand? So, just Public Enemy say every brother ain't a brother. So, you get confused and be talking about we got to look out for Loretta Lynch. And she hasn't charged any police officers for the death of Eric Garner. So she hadn't charged no police officer for the death of Eric Garner when she was the DA in New York. What makes her think she's going to do something for us now that she's the Attorney General? Same thing with Barack Hussein Obama. So, you know what I mean? How could a man tell our people in Baltimore not to be violent? He is the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today based on what Dr. King said in 1968. You understand? So when you won't hear these same ministers that's taking money from him condemn Obama for his murdering of Libya and Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, those in Iraq, those in Afghanistan, those in Pakistan. But yeah, he'll come out last week and apologize for unintentionally killing 2 white Americans in a drone by over there in Pakistan. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
So this is what we're looking at.
So do these kind of people that are put in place like Loretta Lynch. Now listen, there's a lot of people, not around me, but a lot of people I know that did not make the connection between this Loretta Lynch and Eric Garner. We have to clear that up and get people to understand this, who this woman is that they just appointed.
That's right. She's dangerous. She's Condoleezza Rice. Redo. You know what I mean? And what happened is I blame black media in terms of, again, the ones who just want to have this cozy relationship and access to her, but not get our people justice. And Sharpton met with her. He and the Garner family met with her on August the 20th. We posted that information. So they knew then that she wasn't going to charge those officers. You understand? So now they're going to tell us as a people we got to help her make history. You know what I mean? Look, fascism in a skirt is just as dangerous as fascism in a shirt. Black woman is the mayor of the city, but it's fascism. We got a black woman that they just made the head of the Maryland National Guard 3 months ago that they knew this was going to go down. So fascism in a skirt is just as dangerous as fascism in a shirt. You know what I mean? It makes no difference to me. If they straight, gay, makes no difference. But if it's fascism, it's fascism. And we got to call it for what it is. And what they're pushing now is Fabian fascism. But let me mention this other point about the young people yesterday. They let those young people out of school early at Douglas High School, which is across from Mondawmin Mall, but they didn't. This is after the NSA released the text about a purge. That's now come out. It's now come out that NSA has been using LRAD, the long-range acoustic devices, on the masses of people in Baltimore the last couple of days, which they can deal in mind control. So nobody's asking why did those young people come out to school that way. So what happened was the police were already stationed around the mall. There was no buses to take the young people home because they cut off bus service, and they had closed the mall at 2. They closed the mall early. So they were herding the young people toward the mall. And the police started shooting tear gas at the young people, so the young people had no alternative but to fight back. But the media is not telling that. You understand?
So
Black media is not even telling that.
Right, so we've seen some young people running in the mall. So so what did the young people do just with no ride home? They just went in the mall and started looting? What did they do?
No, now you had some people that went in, but again, those were provocateurs. They brought in young people who didn't even go to the school and brought them into the community yesterday. As I said, these people have been here for some time now. Now, the malls, you got to understand, Griff, as you've been reading these articles about Walmart closing Walmart stores, the malls have been working with the Department of Homeland Security. Before September the 11th, the malls will be fusion centers, or the malls will be what they call ECOs, Emergency Command Centers. Likewise, these Walmarts that they've been closing. But nobody's been talking about those relationships between most of the mall owners are Zionist-owned. Westfield Mall, Zionist-owned. General Growth Property was owned Mondawmin Mall. And the mall out here in Security, where they closed today because they said they had a threat. Again, those are Zionists that have been working, of course, with the government of Israel, which trains many of the chiefs of police departments around this country right now. So we're seeing an escalation. Yes, sir.
So will Walmart be turned into concentration camps as Layla Africa was teaching?
Well, they may turn into concentration camps or fusion centers, which really are maybe right. Essentially is what they are. But they call these malls soft targets. Now I got to say this because remember we were talking about all this took place on April the 19th, which begins, of course, those mid-April blood sacrifices and occult days, which was the day before Hitler's birthday, going all the way up to May 1st, this Friday, when the commissioner says he's supposed to give his announcement and then turn over the investigation to the Baltimore City State's attorney, Marilyn Mosby. So I believe none of this is an accident, that the world's attention was fixated on Baltimore, and what we saw yesterday took place in an area called Druid Hill. And that ties into the Druids during this time of the year. The Druids, you know what I'm saying? And they have a night called, as they had in Nazi Germany, it's called Wall Purges. Is that right?
Right. And what they do on that night is wow the hell out.
Right. So you saw the fires last night, and most of the fires weren't set by the young people. They were set by professional fire starters, because we got over 600 cameras in Baltimore City, and they haven't shown you one fire being set by any black person. And they can show you a camera if somebody set fire in any of these communities or any of these stores, man. So again, all of this is a part of the bigger psyops that's being played out on the people right now.
So
and very few people have been able to make that analysis. Yes, sir.
Right. So now that they understand that this is a psyops, how and what should we do? How should they conduct themselves? How do they know a false flag from something that's really taking place? Because a black man in South Carolina did get shot in the back. Eric Garner did get choked out. Mike Brown did get shot. And brothers and sisters and black men and women across this country have been shot down. How? Right. A lot of people are confused. They're like, that shit ain't real. He was running too slow. That ain't happening because there was no blood. And what do we say about these kind of things?
Well, I think we got to somehow put together our own, and again, organic grassroots media that can investigate it. And I think we have to have that. We have to have think tanks that can share that information and give our analysis like we're doing tonight with facts and acts. I think we also have to take the opportunity, again, as I said before, to send our investigative teams there, wherever it may be, and know that we got to have those brothers and sisters on the front lines in the cities. And so we got to increase our communication. We got to be mobilizing our people like never before. We got to continue to educate our people to think outside the box, because many of our people around the country, and some of them that's even in the conscious community, are falling for flipping the script to make the victim the criminal and the criminal the victim right now, by saying, young people, you got to do something with them. So they're calling for the National Guard and the military, which they want to come in and kill our young people. And when you look at the demographics on population in Baltimore, we are getting younger, with a younger, stronger youth population, where the whites are getting older, with an older white population. So that's real when we talk about, again, depopulation. So, again, the image that they're trying to give is the young people. And some young 13, 14-year-olds wouldn't be able to go against the mighty Maryland National Guard or the Baltimore City Police Department, but they got to put that image out there to justify the next step. Now, this goes into, again, the COPS program and President Obama, who's running things straight from the White House, so that he can come in now and say, we need to federalize the police, or we need to militarize the police more. You should see the heavy equipment that they bought in. I mean, you saw, or we read about, heard about, the earthquake in Nepal. They get the Gazas, we get the guns. They get the food, while we get the tanks. They get the tanks, we got the tanks. You know what I mean? So we didn't see that empathy for people who have lived inside this country for years. There's a black man sitting down at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. He was just dog whistling today with that speech he made. He hasn't charged with his attorney general not one police officer for the violation of our civil rights and human rights. And we should be doing, as our brothers and sisters have been talking about, in terms of the Palestinian brothers and sisters, taking this country before the United Nations, or taking this country before the International Criminal Court, taking this country before the World Court, and charging them with acts of genocide when we talk about the shooting and killing and maiming of our people across the country. And we should have linked up with our brothers and sisters at the Summit of Americas a few weeks ago, and our brothers and sisters on the African continent. It's time that we do that. And we can't keep talking about it. We got to move to do it. And anybody that gets in our way, we got to go over them, around them, under them, or through them, as you say, by any and every means necessary, brother.
That's right.
But this is what we have. This is what we have to do right now, because we're in a very dangerous time where our people are not being critical thinkers. And whatever the mainstream media says, the CNN, as you always say, the alphabet boys, our people are accepting that information. And unfortunately, even some of us who call ourselves conscious are not being able to see through this matrix of misinformation they're using on our people right now, brother.
Right, exactly. So let's take a couple of calls and bring a couple of people in on this particular conversation. We're talking about the Psy-ops, the prelude to the global population part 1 here on NMEmindz Radio with Professor Griff, Ms. ZaZa Ali in her absence, and with our guest, our good brother, Mr. Darren Muhammad from the state of the city. Caller, we already know the running. We already know the drill. Respect my guest or you won't be on the phone long. All right, so we're going to take the caller from the 718 area code. Caller from the 718. This is NMEmindz Radio. What's good?
Peace, Griff.
Peace. What's good, man? You're on the phone with Darren Muhammad and Professor Griff.
I know that. I just wanted to say that the brother Darren Muhammad stated out some things that I wanted to say, make a comment about. He was making reference to the BFG, the Bloods and Crips, where they have entered a partnership into the law enforcement officers. A memo that was put out, I don't know what day it was, yesterday or the other day, but if you look at Red and Blue Pill YouTube video where they did a video with on brother Rich YouTube video where it says Pat Lynch War on Black America. They detail everything that's happening right now. Red Pill detail everything to the T what's happening right now between Baltimore and New York. Everything that's going on right now, they detailed all that. The Black Gorilla family, all that. The brother that killed the cops, when he had Black Gorilla family ties and all that, to the Blood and Crips and Bobby's murder and all that. If you look at that, he detailed, Red Pill detailed all that to the side. He said this was going to come. And you need to look at that because that's...
Yeah, we'll check it out.
Everything that he said is happening right now.
Okay, we got you. We got you. Really appreciate you. We got it, brother. That brother driving that point home. We got you. Really appreciate your call, all right?
All right.
All right, peace.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, cool. Let's go to the next caller. Caller from the 843 area code. This is Professor Griff ZaZa Ali with our guest, Brother Darren Muhammad. What's good?
Assalamu alaikum. Everything's good, brother. How you doing?
Good.
Yes, sir. Yes, people really gotta listen up about the female camp and how they have everything just set up. They're just ready to do it. You know, I really don't have much to give you, giving knowledge, and thank you for the information, brother.
All right, thank you, brother. We appreciate your phone. All right.
Right. Yeah.
All right,
Griff, can I mention right quick? Of course, Baltimore is in FEMA Region 3. So we saw also this governor who's the new governor, Larry Hogan. Now, this former governor, O'Malley, he was on the president's council for a region of governors, which, of course, they cut the country into 10 regions. And just like we saw in the movie, what's that movie, Hunger Games? They had 10 districts, right? So the country is set up into 10 regions, and which, again, it gives enormous amount of power to federalize governors, and ultimately, of course, as we see as they move toward, slowly, the boiling the rabbit in the pot through Fabian fascism or moving toward, again, martial law. And so he is good friends with Chris Christie, and so he also has asked New Jersey troops to come down, in New Jersey and New York, in FEMA Region 2. So this is big as we're looking at this grow now.
Right. Will there be multi-jurisdictional task force and people that don't even speak English handling our people?
That's right. Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely, brother. Okay. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have Canadian troops inside of the country right now. I know they got Israeli troops, and I want to mention this because there's a group that's in New York, as the brother mentioned New York, called Shumrim, which means the Watchers. We had a young brother named Corey Osby a few years ago who was going through a neighborhood. They claimed he was looking in cars, didn't break in a car, and he was stopped and accosted by 2 members of this group, Shumrim. They beat the young brother and broke his arm. And the case went to court. And this mayor, I talked to some students that attend one of the high schools, Northwestern, and they said they always are being stopped by this group, Shumrim, and they videotaping the young brothers and sisters who are just standing on the bus stop waiting for the bus. And anyway, this mayor told the president of the NAACP chapter here in Baltimore, named Tessa Hill, to disband the student chapter of the NAACP at the school because the students were daring to step up and talk about how members of the Jewish community were targeting them. They took this case to court, and I don't know if you heard this attorney named J. Wendell Gordon. He was supposed to have been the attorney. He cut a deal with the members of the Jewish community. They paid the family of the young brother to keep their mouths shut, and then they made Jay Wendell head nigga in charge and put him on cable television shows. She put him on like Nancy Grace and some other shows. But he tried to steal the name of our great lawyer, Warrior, up there in New York and call himself the Warrior Lawyer. We said, no, you the Hoya Lawyer. Right. Goya Lawyer. The Goya Lawyer when you bow down to Shumrim. But that group Shumrim, may be operating in other cities, but I know they're big in New York and they're big in Baltimore also, brother. And they're intimately working with police departments in terms of training police officers, and as well as, of course, their intimate connection to the Israeli Mossad as well. So I just wanted to share that info.
Okay, let's take another caller. Caller from the 908 area code. Peace. This is Professor Griff ZaZa Ali here on NMEmindz Radio, and our guest, Darren Muhammad. What's good?
Peace, Professor Griff, and Brother Darren. Is this all going to be just aimed at our race, or is it going to include the white race or the Spanish race, or is this just going to be aimed at us?
Well, Darren, you can answer that. I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah. Well, we always going to be the test system. You know what I mean? We always going to be the test first, but ultimately they're going to move on those other people as well. So, right. You know, what we're looking at is they had a program years ago called Weed and Seed. They had a program called Operation Prevention. And that's all this COPS program that Obama is offering up is another Weed and Seed and Prevention program, which means primitive man, which they use to target black elected officials that didn't go along with what it is they wanted them to do. So this is what they're doing when they give cities this COPS money. It comes with strings attached, and it's really like a train that's coming down the track, but there's about 4 tracks to this train that the people don't see. But they'll move on us or attempt to move on us first. But as I said before, they ultimately will move on others. But a lot of the whites that moved out into, as you know, Griff, in terms of the militias and those that moved into Colorado and Utah and Oregon, they know what's coming. You know what I mean? But they know what's coming inside of this country right now. So they're arming and alarming their people. They're enlightening, not frightening their people. They're showing they're caring and sharing this information with their people. And that's what we got to be willing to do as well, so that we can stop them in every way, shape, and form.
Right. And sister, let me add on to that.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to mention to you back in 1982, I had a magazine. I'm from Newark, New Jersey. I had a magazine. I don't remember where the magazine came from, but I read an article in there that they had been building these concentration camps, they called them at that time. They did not call them FEMA camps, but they had been putting them together back in 82 and maybe before. So this plan has been in effect going back then.
Yes.
Right, exactly. Before then. We really appreciate your perspective and your call, good sister, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you, Queen.
All right, thank you. Right, just to add on to what the sister said, Brother Darren, when she talks about is this black or race specific? Yes, it is. Not only do they have programs and operations that are race specific, they have weapons that are race specific. So let's look at stop and frisk. White people weren't stopped and frisked in New York. That was a black people thing.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Part of a Psy-ops to keep the fear going, to let black people know you can be stopped at any time. And they'll make the announcement at the airport, at the train station, at Amtrak. I was at Penn Station, and I was at Port Authority, and I was at Madison Square Garden the other day. And they'll make the announcement that at any time, police officers can stop and frisk and search your bag at any time.
That's right. Yes,
but they'll say it very nice and politely, and probably hand out some damn peppermints while they're doing it. But anyway, nonetheless, it's going down. Hold on. Caller from the 704 area code. This is Professor Griff ZaZa Ali here on NMEmindz Radio. Our guest, Mr. Darren Muhammad. What's good?
Peace, God. Peace, Griff. Peace, Darren Muhammad. Peace. I thank you. I thank you for your work on the ground, man.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Just that mayor, that lady mayor or governor, she is the black lady. She did come out and give them the freedom to protest and for rioters to do whatever they wanted, and she had the cops stand down. Because yesterday I was watching the news, and all these white people on the news kept talking about, well, where's the mayor? Why did she give this? They looking for her because she gave the okay for that to happen. So now, last night, she had to come back and clear her stuff up because they digging in her butt, the media.
Right. Yeah. But they both are kind of doing an acting job, the mayor as well as the governor. She's on the president's task force for 21st century policing. I think we'll eventually do a show, Griff, and maybe call the names of those who's on that task force. She's also on the task force as the police commissioners here at Bats. And again, as I said, Ron Davis heads up the task force. Jamal Bryant has worked with this mayor on many of her commissions that she's put together. So when he said he's calling for the police officers to be arrested and charged, nothing could be further from the truth. He's never taken any stand on any issues that goes on in the city of Baltimore. So again, as I said before, when you do a check on him and his security team, most of his security team are Baltimore City police officers. So that's just game, that's theater, that's just Pharaoh or the Pharaohess and her magicians playing a trick on the people right now, brother. And I've even said to brothers in the Nation of Islam, watch their standing with the mayor, because you'll send mixed messages to the people. You know what I mean? You'll send contradictions to the people. Now is not the time to be sending contradictory messages to the people. You know, you got to speak straight words to them, and you got to make it plain for the people right now. Otherwise, you'll be confusing the people.
Right. So the Minister Farrakhan is calling for another 1 million men to come back to the mall in October, a 1 million man march. How is that saying anything when the theme is justice? You understand? So how is that going to work? If the minister's bringing 1 million people back to the mall to demand justice from this government, is there going to be a clash? What's going to happen?
Well, I mean, if you're talking justice, there's no way that you can get justice. They're not going to give it to you. So that word justice. You know what I mean? So you know, so he ain't saying Black Lives Matter. He's talking Black justice. You know what I mean? So again, that right there in itself is a definitive term in terms of, again, a Psy-ops. You're talking straight justice is what we're asking for. So I'm just waiting to see. You know what I mean, in terms of not just the minister, but I'm praying that he don't invite the Shoftons. He don't invite the Jesse Jacksons. These people have the blood of Dr. King, as we're talking about April, closing out on April, in the blood sacrifice, or ritual sacrifice of Dr. King. As it came out, as you know, in the report in 99 in the court case, that he had a gun so that if Maury McCullough, if Earl Clark, the other shooter, missed, Jesse's job was to put the final bullet in Dr. King. Steve Coakley shared this information. Dick Gregory shared the information. Gave pictures to the King family of Abernathy buying the gun. So all of this is, this is public information. So we can't take these people and hold them up. We should, if we see them in that city, we should be asking the National Guard, the police, to make an arrest on this trash. This garbage out our city. This man is wanted for murder. You know, and so we have to be willing to do that. We can't send contradictory messages to our people today. You know what I mean? And Jesse had to come here because you know his no good son, Jesse Jr., is in a halfway house here in Baltimore, right?
Right, in a halfway house, right, exactly.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Now let the people know real quick, why is he sitting in a halfway house?
He's in a halfway house because, of course, he was trying to buy the seat of the senatorial seat of Barack Obama. And Jesse Jackson Jr. was the campaign manager for Obama's campaign in 2008. Now, they were going to kill him in 2012 because this information was coming up. In fact, they had a letter that they put out to say that he had wrote a suicide letter. He had to go in and hide because they was going to kill him. And Jesse Jackson Sr. stopped talking because they know they was going to kill him because he was interfering with Obama's chances of being reelected. But he along with Valerie Jarrett, along with several others, were trying to buy, Rahm Emanuel was trying to buy the seat of, again, President Obama. That went to Roland Barris, who's the boule. And, of course, now, I don't know who the person is, the name escapes me, that's in that seat right now. But that's why Jesse ultimately went down. They came after him talking about some other things of course, misappropriation of funds and campaign donations and everything else. But it was because of that, and, of course, his arrogance when Rod Blagojevich went down, and he was smiling in the courthouse and, you know, mocking Blagojevich, saying Elvis has left the building. And then he ultimately had to find out that he was going to be the black Elvis that wasn't going to leave the building.
Exactly. He went right to jail. But listen, we need to understand this particular dynamic. So when Jesse Jackson started talking about cutting Barack Obama's nuts off, his balls off, and he got caught on tape saying that, is there infighting? Is there infighting with those that this particular Psy-ops have put at the gate? These advisors to the king. Is there infighting in the boule?
Well, I mean, there has to be some infighting when we see them go after somebody like a Bill Cosby. You know what I mean? There has to be an infighting when we know they killed somebody like a Ron Brown. You know what I mean? So we know there's some infighting, but obviously Jesse had to come back and kiss the ring to get back into the good favor. And now, of course, they're using Jesse, as we see, using Shopton when these kind of critical incidences occur around the country. The first responders for Barack Obama that they send in are these same cast of characters that I just mentioned.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, John Trey, we really appreciate you. Anything else, bro?
Yeah, man. Just keep our youth, man, grounded out there, man. And we with y'all, man.
Right.
Yes, sir. Promise we will, brother. Thank you.
Okay. All right, John Trey.
All right, peace, guy.
Peace. We got a few minutes left. Darren, we're gonna take one more call and then we're gonna sum this one. We're gonna sum this one up. All right.
Yes,
call
sir.
From the 813 area code. Peace. This is Professor Griff ZaZa Ali on NMEmindz Radio with our guest Darren Muhammad. What's good?
Peace. Thank you both, brothers, for all the hard work you guys do. Again, everybody that's out there seeing everything that's going on in Baltimore, everybody just stay awake and stay aware. And like you gentlemen are saying, these people right now are in their refinement stage. They're refining everything they have done before. They're just putting all the ducks in order pretty much. And I just want to start the show about the air. I just want to say all this stuff about the CVS stores getting burned down and all the liquor stores and everything. First of all, a lot of people don't need to be going to CVS to get the drugs and medications that they're getting from the people. So I'm not worried about the drug stores getting burned down or the media keep saying people out of jobs. Some of those people who had to go to CVS tomorrow to work, they're glad CVS probably got burned down because they didn't want to go to work as well. So, again, brothers and sisters who are out there, just keep, again, I'm 32 years old, and I'm not married or anything right now or any kids, but I see what's going on out here, and I just want us to just keep hope alive and just, again, we got to get our own grocery stores, and let's start making progress. I know we keep talking about it, but Chris was ZaZa and this brother out here, you are doing it. Come on, everybody else, let's start doing it.
Right.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yes.
We really appreciate you, sister. Appreciate you. All right, peace.
Thank you, sister. All right, peace. Well,
any last words before we wrap this one up?
No, brother. I mean, she mentioned the burning of properties. As I said before, this is a FEMA operation. So just as we saw in Ferguson, those business persons came out and said they had met with FEMA and Department of Justice before any demonstration took place, and they told them any businesses that was damaged, that FEMA would reimburse them. So likewise, they could cut a check tomorrow for these people, brother. But again, if we don't know what the master plans are for those areas, they may have already voted in the city council to annex a lot of those businesses. You know what I mean? So this is again what the questions we got to ask. But no, as it relates to just wrapping up, man, I just tell our people to stay watchful, stay vigilant. Of course, send us that positive synergy of energy here in Baltimore City. But I always say store up, as the Most High Muhammad said, store up in terms of a survival kit, a prep kit. Keep you some water, at least 6 weeks to 6 months supply, non-perishable food. If you're taking medicine, keep your medicine in your home. Keep your weapons in your home, and get to know your neighbors. You gotta get to know one another. Children know everybody on the block. A lot of times adults don't know two people living on the block. So, and of course, physically fitness, meditation, we got to do all of that because we're getting ready to take it to the next level, and they're looking to take it to the next level, brother. So we look forward to it. We ain't going to run from it. We're going to run to it, Brother Griff. So we continue to just fight the power, brother. Just thank you, and thank, of course, Queen ZaZa Ali for all the work you've continued to do, and we got to bring you back to Tubman City soon, brother, so we can lay all of this out, man, all right?
Okay, give thanks. As you always tell me, let the people know how to get in touch with you. When your show come on, how they can reach you on Facebook or whatever medium you have.
Okay, yeah, they can reach me State of the City. We're on W as in world, F as in friend, B as in brother, R as in radio, WSBR Monday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 12 noon. We also broadcast on our Facebook page at Darren, D-A-R-E-N, State of the City, last name Muhammad, M-U-H-A-M-A-M-M-A-D. Send me that Facebook request. And we're on Twitter at the #1 State of the City, and also on Spreaker, which is our app, www.spreaker, SPREAKER.com. We look forward. You can listen to any of our previous podcast shows on our Spreaker page. So that's how you can reach me, brother. Again, just say thank you and love you for all that you have done and continue to do for our people, brother.
No, I love you too, good brother. Now make sure I pass that on to ZaZa. We definitely need to get together to do this lecture, and we need to invite all of the gangs. We need to invite the brothers that came together that called the truce. We need to equip these brothers with this kind of information so they'll go out wiser. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
We need to do the Psy-ops and the Pre-lude to the global population. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Dealing with martial law, dealing with FEMA, explaining what Psy-ops is, and explaining these tactics and the alphabet boys, and do what Steve Coakley said. Connect the dots and let these brothers know who is who and what kind of operation they're actually running in these streets, man.
Yes, sir. Promise we will, brother. Promise we will.
All right, good brother. Love you to life, man.
All right.
We'll talk, good brother.
All right. Love you infinity. Peace.
All right. Peace. That was my good brother, Darren Muhammad from the State of the City. Check him out. You know, a lot of times when we come to Baltimore, we come to Tubman City, we kind of hook up with Darren to do these lectures to try to keep our people awake and aware on what's going on. Someone texted me and said the purging is going on. What's going to happen after the purge and with the Negroes that are herding the masses of our people into the slaughterhouse Will they survive after the purging? Also, the question is, somebody keep talking about black-on-black violence. If black people stop killing black people, will white people stop killing us? We need to understand this particular dynamic. Shout out to the people that's in the chat room making it happen. Shout out to the people that's on the front lines, especially the Bloods, the Crips, the Black Guerrilla family, and all the brothers and sisters, FOI, and all the brothers and sisters that are on the front line. Nati at everyone's place, keep your head up. ZaZa, definitely push forward and make that body of work monumental and make it available to our people as soon as you can so we can start energizing our people so that we can move forward. All the brothers and sisters that acknowledge yourself, whether you claim to be in the conscious community or not, like the sister said from the 813 area code, now is the time for us to see your face. All the talking is over with, all right? I don't care if you're a filmmaker, you make goddamn donuts. I don't give a damn what you do. Now is the time for us to see your action instead of hearing your words. Either you're going to get on the front line or be quiet, all right? And I'm going to end with this message, all right? Matter of fact, I'm not going to end just yet because we got about 5 more minutes. I want to play this particular part of this particular song so we can get an idea of the spirit because this Thursday coming up, we're going to deal with this Jade Helm 15. We're going to continue to deal with martial law. We're going to continue to deal with the DOD 1013 program, all right? But I want to give you a taste of this sister's message and this sister's work, and then we're going to close this one out.
Now, why would a dictator do that? Why would he make his number one priority when he took over as dictator to disarm the public? The Second Amendment is there, and it was put in there not for hunting and fishing like they like to say. It was put in there so the citizens would have the ability, if their government became oppressive, they could defend themselves against oppressive government. And I think that overrules all the gun deaths because let's remember something. A gun is simply a tool. People kill people.
Be ready once that war has gotten heavy. Kept them burners by the bevy. Turn that deep into confetti. Steady aiming where your children at. Damage where you building at. Annihilate you from the map. This is more than just a rap. Presidents crying over babies don't move me. But they've been killing babies worldwide. You can't fool me. Just another tactic to take us off our axis. That routine practice to keep us on snooze. Everyone's associated. I don't watch the news. Claiming I'm affiliated. I don't know them dudes. I just keep it front line. 12 gauge shot rhyme, aim for the head, make sure the shoulder don't bruise. I choose freedom over cake and find royalties, even for the sake to integrate in popularity. Just for more clarity, you ain't really scaring me. It's really no surprise to anyone with open eyes to this.
Yes, that's my good sister, putting it down, all right? Talking about the gun law. We're going to finish this conversation, part 2 of the Psy-ops. The Prelude to the Global Population, Part 2 on Thursday. All right? Shout out to my big sister, Miss ZaZa Ali. All right? Shout out to all the brothers and sisters on the front line. We have to keep in mind, this psyops may lead to blacks being exterminated Auschwitz style in America. All right? And we need to understand this. Watch the news. Take notes. All right? Come to the conversation to help energize our young people. If you have not taken to the streets and taken to the hood to politicize young people, to get them to understand what's going on with this psyops and what's going on with black men and women getting shot down in America, but yet you complain about them looting. Shut the hell up, man. Shut the hell up and stay your punk ass in front of the TV with your remote control watching the game or the fight or something. All right? Either you're going to step up and get on the front line and talk to young people and help guide and get our young people to understand, or just be quiet, man. Or just be quiet. Revolution is not an event. It's a process. I'm going to say that again. Revolution is not an event. It's a process. All right? Hopefully y'all got the message dealing with this particular psyops, a prelude to the global population. Dr. Francis Cress-Welsing, Saturday, May 23rd in Atlanta, Georgia. Professor Griff and ZaZa Ali with NMEmindz Radio. Marimba Ani, ZaZa Ali, and Dr. Francis Cress-Welsing. Keep in mind, brothers and sisters, as Tupac said, keep your head up. He said he may not get there with you, but he's going to activate some young brothers with his words, all right? That's going to bring the pain. The brothers and sisters that are on the front lines right now in Baltimore are not afraid. What's wrong with the rest of y'all Negroes? All right? All right, so let's make this thing happen, and let's go and let's save our people. Shout out to all those brothers and sisters that kept the elders in mind, that made sure they were safe, and kept the babies in mind to make sure they were safe. I'll see y'all on Thursday. This is NMEmindz Radio, Professor Griff, and my big sister, Miss ZaZa Ali. Peace. Peace.
Riding in the Chevy all black, bitch. Can't see me 'cause I'm riding in the back, bitch. Big 45 loaded in my lap, bitch. Mouth full of truth, pocket full of facts, bitch. Yeah, they got my straw.